my lovely students, how are you all? A very hearty welcome to this mind-blowing platform Physics Wallah. My name is Rupur Sharma and today we are going to do the ultimate recap of the chapter The Last Leaf. See, The Last Leaf is a beautiful story by O. Henry. And you know, a lot of movies have been based on the same story. Okay, The Last Leaf, and the name is also the same. And you know, there is also a Hindi movie, there is also a Bollywood movie based on this story, which is called Lutera. It was released in 2013, and this picture that was released in 2013 is also a beautiful portrayal of this story by O. Henry. Of course, there were some changes, but you can definitely catch that up. And now, let us start with this story. Now, this story is about hope. Okay, you know, hope is quite necessary in life, especially when we are talking about our health. Okay, if you're not feeling well, okay, if you're not, you know, mentally we are not feeling good now, then obviously we cannot even recover physically. Okay, if we do not have mental peace, if we have decided that yes, this disease that I have is gonna last long, so this is a thing that happens. But if you're mentally prepared for something, if you're mentally very happy, if you're mentally hopeful, then the disease also vanishes away. Okay, and this story is about that only. Okay, it starts with Sue and Johnsy. So there are three main characters in this story, and two of them are Sue and Johnsy. Sue and Johnsy were two young artists, okay? They were two young artists who lived together. So what kind of artists they were? They used to draw, okay? They used to paint. They were painters. They lived together in a small flat. It was located on the third story of an old house. So this is the location, and the location is really very important, that they used to live on the third story of an old house. Johnsy fell ill in November due to pneumonia. Okay, so here the main character Johnsy, she was suffering from pneumonia. Okay, and she was not feeling well at all, and she was she fell ill in November. In her illness, Johnsy would lie on the bed without moving and looked out of the window. Johnsy's behavior worried Sue, so she called the doctor. Now Johnsy, because she was suffering from pneumonia, and while she was suffering physically low, she also started feeling mentally low, and she was not able to take care of herself, and she was just lying on the bed, and she was too gloomy to do anything. She was really very sad, and she always look out of the window. Okay, she was always looking out of the window. And her friend Sue, she was a very good friend of hers. She was really very worried for her friend Johnsy. Now one day, the doctor's visit. The doctor came every day, but there was no improvement in Johnsy's health. Okay, the doctor came every day. Okay, but there was no improvement. Okay, there was no improvement in Johnsy's health. One day, the doctor informed Sue that Johnsy had lost her willingness to live. As I told you, if you're not mentally strong, if you have given up, hope, then nothing can happen. You cannot improve, physically as well. And this is the case with, Johnsy as well. She had lost her willingness to live. Okay, she had no will to live. She was just feeling that, okay, I'm never gonna get better. I'm just gonna be like that only, and this disease is gonna be the end of my life. Therefore, without hope and willingness, as I told you, this story is about hope and willingness. Okay, it's about hope. If you lose hope, if you do not have willingness, no medicine would cure her. Since then, Sue tried to make Johnsy take an interest in the things. Okay, now Sue, being a very good friend, she was really very worried about Johnsy. So her motive was to make Johnsy happy. She was always trying to give her best to make Johnsy happy. She would talk about clothes and fashion, but nothing interested Johnsy. Now Johnsy, earlier she was a very bubbly kind of a girl, just like the girls usually are. They love to talk about fashion, they love to talk about clothes. But at that time, because Johnsy was not feeling well at all, she did not want to talk about anything with Sue. So she was not happy at all. She did not want to talk at all. She was very, she was feeling very low. Sue even brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room to complete her work. Now what Sue did was, as I told you, that they were painters. They did not have a very well-to-do condition. I mean, they were not very Richie. They were not very rich, so that is why they were living in an old house. It was a very small rented kind of a place, but they used to, you know, sell paintings in order to, you know, survive. And Sue also thought that, okay, I need to work on my paintings. I need to sell them in the market. That is, then only, you know, we can survive. Then only I can bring medicines for Johnsy as well. So now she decided that I am gonna work in Johnsy's room only. I'm not gonna leave Johnsy alone. So she brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room. So one day, Sue noticed that Johnsy was looking out of the window and counting backwards. So as I told you that Johnsy was always on the bed and she was always looking out of the window. One day, Sue noticed that she was counting backwards. Sue saw that Johnsy was looking at an old ivy creeper. Okay, there was an old ivy creeper. Okay. What's an ivy creeper? This is this kind of a creeper, okay, that climbs on the, you know, walls. Creepers, you know, the kind of trees that, you know, takes the support of walls or something, or, you know, big, you know, wooden blocks or something. So it was like that only. So she was looking at that was climbing the brick wall opposite to their window. The creeper was shedding its leaf due to the strong winds, because it was the autumn season. So the leaves were shedding. The leaves were shedding from the ivy tree due to the strong winds. Sue was shocked when she came to know that Johnsy believed that she would die when the last leaf of the creeper would fall. Now, you know, this is a very unusual thing. Now there was an ivy creeper, you know, outside of the window, opposite to that window, and the leaves were falling, you know, continuously. And Johnsy had somehow, you know, made up her mind that, you know, as the leaves were falling, as her days were also ending, and when the last leaf is gonna fall, she is also gonna die. And you know, this could have been true. This could have been true because she had lost all her hope, she had lost all her willingness, and she was actually comparing herself with that ivy tree, and she was thinking, she had, you know, somehow joined her faith with that, you know, tree, and she was thinking that yes, I am certainly gonna die, and that could have been true. Sue disregarded Johnsy's belief. She told Johnsy to think positively. Okay, she thought that you should think, you know, positively, and also requested her not to look at the ivy creeper. Obviously, Sue was very concerned for her. So Sue told her that, you know, just, you know, gather yourself and be very positive. You should not think like that. If you keep on thinking negative things are going to happen to you. You know, you must have heard about it. You know, the more negative you think, the more negative things are going to happen to you. If you think positively, then positive things are going to happen to you. And that is what was happening with you know, Johnsy as well. She was not at all feeling positive. Now the old Behrman, Sue had to paint an old miner, so she called Behrman to be her model. Okay, so there was another man, the old miner, whose name was Behrman. Okay, and Behrman was also a painter. Okay, I guess old painter, he was an old painter as well. Okay, so she called Behrman to be her model. Behrman was a 60-year-old painter who lived on the ground floor of the same house. Now this Behrman, he was also an old painter, and his motive, there was a strong motive in Behrman's life. You know, these artists, they take their life very seriously. They take their you know, creativity, they take their skill very, you know, seriously, and sometimes they want to dedicate their whole life towards this, and so was Behrman. Behrman was like this only, and he used to live on the ground floor, and he was a 60-year-old painter. And Behrman was not a successful artist. Okay, he was not a successful artist. He always had a dream of painting a masterpiece, but was not successful in doing so. His, you know, dream in life was to make a masterpiece. As I told you that, you know, they take their skill very seriously, and they dedicate their whole life towards that, and they want to be successful, they want to be known, they want that their painting should be known by people. But that was not the case with Behrman. Unfortunately, Behrman was not successful, and he had one thing in his heart, that he wanted to paint and a masterpiece, but was not successful in doing so. He was not successful in doing so. So Sue told Behrman about the Johnsy's condition and belief. Later, Sue and Behrman went to Johnsy's room and saw that only one last leaf remained on the creeper. Now this person, you know, Behrman, you know, he also became aware of this situation of Johnsy, and he was also very concerned for Johnsy. And when Sue and, you know, Behrman came to their, you know, house, and they looked out of the window, they saw that only the last leaf was remaining. And they knew this thing, okay, that if this last leaf falls, then Johnsy is definitely gonna die. Because I told you that she had related somehow, in her mind, she had made up the story that she had somehow connected her fate with the fate of the ivy creeper, and she thought that, okay, if the last leaf is gonna fall, even I am gonna die. And this is the thing that was there, and they were really very concerned. So next morning, Johnsy saw that the last leaf was still hanging on the ivy creeper. She was surprised to see that even after the strong winds and storm, the last leaf had not fallen. So what happened was, next morning, Johnsy, she noticed that the last leaf was still hanging. The thing is that actually strong winds were blowing in the night, okay, and she could not see outside the window because it was really very dark. So she was determined that, because of the strong winds, the last leaf is gonna fall, and I'm gonna see it in the morning, and I am also gonna die. Okay, she had decided that yes, the last leaf, I'm gonna see that the last leaf has fallen, and so would be my last day. But she saw that magically the last leaf was still hanging, even because of the strong winds and storm. The leaf had not fallen. In fact, it looked green and healthy. Okay, that brown leaf, the leaves fall because they are brown, especially in the autumn season. But now the leaf was not brown, it was green and it was healthy. Looking at the leaf, Johnsy realized her mistake. She called Sue and apologized her for losing hope. Even the doctor now told Sue that Johnsy would get cured soon. So now this thing gave hope to Johnsy. Johnsy realized that because the leaf has become healthy, it has become green, so can I. Okay, as she had connected her fate, she thought that okay, the leaf has got better, and even I'm gonna get better, and I am gonna improve my health, and the positive things are gonna happen with me. And she thought very positively. Now she also apologized to Sue for losing hope, and she said sorry that okay, I have been a very bad friend to you, and I've been very miserable, so please I want to apologize for that. Even the doctor now told Sue, doctor was 100% sure that because her mental state is now not at par, so even she is gonna get better. He also informed Sue that Behrman was suffering from pneumonia and would die soon, but there was a shocking news awaiting them. Okay, there was a good news that Johnsy was getting better, but now Behrman was suffering from pneumonia, okay, and Behrman was on the bed, okay, and he would die soon. Okay, the doctor was pretty sure that he is going to die soon because his condition was miserable. Now, next morning, Sue informed Johnsy that Behrman actually had died of pneumonia. Okay, Behrman was absolutely well. And he had been ill only for 2 days. But because he was an old man, and maybe the severeness of, the severity of the pneumonia was quite high, he died. The janitor, who's the janitor? A person who is a caretaker or doorkeeper of the building. So janitor, there are, if you talk about the, Western countries, so there is a janitor in their building whose duty is to take care of the building, everything from plumbing to electricity and each and everything. They found that Behrman on his bed and his clothes and shoes were wet. Now, the janitor told that he found Behrman on his bed and his clothes and shoes were wet. Obviously, it was a cold season. Okay, it was the cold season and he was 60 years old and his shoes were wet, his clothes were wet. That is why he actually was telling that this could be the reason of his pneumonia, that he was actually wet. When Sue and Johnsy went to see Behrman, they found a ladder. Now, they found that there was a ladder and a lantern near his bed. Okay, what they saw that near, Behrman's bed, there was a ladder and the lantern. Sue had realized what happened to Behrman and told Johnsy that the last leaf was in fact a painted leaf. It was painted by Behrman in the stormy night when the real leaf had fallen. He had painted his masterpiece and had sacrificed his own life to save Johnsy. So what they realized that actually the last leaf that they saw, actually Johnsy saw, the green leaf, the healthy one, that was not a leaf. That was actually painted. It was a painted leaf and it was painted by Behrman. Okay, in that stormy night. Now, the real leaf had actually fallen. Obviously, it would have fallen because of the strong winds. But that painted leaf, it was tied, okay, very tightly by, Behrman. And he had painted his masterpiece. It was actually his masterpiece because not only it was beautiful, but it was also, you know, it also saved the life of Johnsy. Okay, he sacrificed his own life for the sake of Johnsy. So we can say that was actually a masterpiece. It was such a beautiful leaf that it was considered to be a masterpiece. It not only, you know, it was looking just identical to a real leaf, and it saved Johnsy's life. So here we can see, say that Behrman's life was actually successful. He had a successful life, and he was happy that maybe he was happy before his death that yes, I have achieved my purpose in my life. My purpose was to be a successful painter, and I am a successful painter because not only I have made a masterpiece, but I've also saved a person's life, a young girl's life. So thanks to Behrman and thanks to O. Henry to give such a beautiful story to us, which, you know, inspired a lot of movies, not only Hollywood movies but also Bollywood movies. Thank you so much, beta. We'll see you in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye bye.